For KDSJ Local Sports, Clayson Davis reporting with the Spearfish Spartans high school volleyball team, recapping their season with head coach Shelbie Richards. Coach Richards, thank you for taking time to recap the season with us.
Yes, absolutely.
So before we get into all of the end-of-season recap, we need to talk about the SODAC 16 game. Talk about that environment of hosting a SODAC 16 contest in Spearfish for the first time in school history.
It was a lot of fun. I think it is one of those things that it is not normal for us. And we just have to continue to get ourselves in those situations so we're used to that environment, because it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of people come out and support us. The community stepped up. It was a lot of fun, but it was definitely something we are not used to. So that's just something we have to make into our new normal.
What was there to learn from the SODAC 16 game against Aberdeen Central?
I think if we look back at it, I think we're all still in a little bit of a denial that it ended the way it did. But that first set, I just think we couldn't get settled in. They came out on a high. And, I think there is something to be said about being on the road and going into somebody else's gym, when you're in that environment. And all the pressure was on us, and that's kind of exactly how we played the first set. But I'm really, really proud of the girls and how they responded, because they could have easily just laid over that second and third set, but they came back and battled. And I thought for sure that second set, after we made that hustle play over the bleacher or where our bench was, that we were going to steal that one. But volleyball gods had a different outcome in mind for us, but I am very proud of how the girls battled. We played dang good volleyball, and I think that if you put us in a series of 7 with Aberdeen, it's going into 7, and that just wasn't the night it was going to fall our way.
So after that game, you guys end the season at a 23-10 record, 11-7 record against Class AA teams in the state of South Dakota. Talk about the total successes from the season, from the 19-game winning streak you had earlier this year to hosting a SODAC 16 game for the first time in school history.
Yeah, there's a lot of success stories this year. It was a lot of fun too, and I think if you go back to when we first started this season, if you would have told us this is how our season was going to end, we all would have thought you were crazy. We lost some pretty impactful players early on and kind of, didn't know how we were going to overcome that. And the girls, they just stepped up and they did it. So, starting off, we went down to Huron, beat Mitchell. That was great. Played really bad against Brookings, and then competed with Del Rapids, which ended up winning the state tournament, and then competed with Lincoln. So we started off our season in an okay spot, and then, dropped that match to Hill City, which was really tough. But I think that kind of sparked a little bit of drive too, and these girls really knowing where they wanted to be at the end of season. Went down to that Gillette tournament, which that's where things kind of got started for us. We found that lineup that we ended in this season, and there's a lot of success, and it took all of them. From Callie Reiners ended up getting 1,500 set assists, and she's a junior. That's amazing. Addie Bowman got 500 kills and digs on the season. Brooklyn Yackley had 500 digs. So we had so many successes within that helped us end the season the way we did, and it took all of them. I only played 7 girls consistently, but they definitely did their job, and they were hungry to do the right things. They came in every day to practice. They worked hard. It was just a very humbling year too.
Absolutely, as head coach Shelbie Richards joins us with KDSJ Local Sports to help recap the Spearfish Lady Spartans volleyball season this year. You talked a little bit about some of your star performers this year, from your setter Callie Reiners, along with Adeline Bowman, that played a lot and had some great moments this season as well. But who were some of your other star players that stepped up this season, and who do you look forward to building on coming back next year in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we can highlight all 7 of them. You don't see that a lot on any volleyball team, that you're only playing 7 girls in rotation. A lot of the time, you're either your outside or your right sides are getting subbed out for defensive players. But we had a special group of girls this year, and we played with 7. So it was nice for the flow of the game. If you just start on Callie Reiner, she's been setting for this team since her 8th grade year. But she's kind of gotten used to running a 5-1. She became a threat in the front row too. Her decision-making has been great. She's really sensing who the blockers are keying on and giving our hitters some open spots. And so she obviously next year is going to be great to have one more year with us as a senior. And then Addie Bowman, again, she plays outside and middle for us. She has great court sense. That kid, I think, knows volleyball just as well as anybody. She did it in the front and back row for us. I think a big key player that stepped in this year was Tabby, our middle. She really made a huge presence blocking for us. And then I think people weren't ready for her to swing out of the middle. And she had one of our highest hitting percentages just because she had some openings because they were keying on our other outside or right side hitters. So she did a great job. She led in aces on the year. She had a killer serve, and you don't see that, again, from middles very often. But even when she was in the back row, she made defensive plays that kept us in that scoring rotation while she was back there serving. So she was great to have, and she's just a junior. We had a sophomore step up. We kind of had that outside position come open, and we threw Addie Keller out there, and she ended up hanging in there. She's not afraid to swing big, and I think it's going to be really fun to watch where her career goes. Sadly, if we go back into that Aberdeen game when we were up 25-24, she took a big swing on the outside, which she's young. That's a huge stage for her to be playing on. And she took a big rip, and I was watching the film, and she missed it by like 2 inches out of the back line. And so in our end of the season meeting, I was talking to her about that, and I just said, kid, that's the swing I want you to take. You're going to learn from it. And next year, that's a swing you're going to put down. And then we had Brooklyn Yackley. She was our libero this year. Stepped up big too. She saw some varsity time her junior year, but really made a difference for us in like our coverage ball and picking up tips. That's something we have been working on, and she did a great job of making sure we were doing that.
But you'll be losing your libero and Brooklyn Yackley and, of course, Avery Kirk. Talk about the impact that those two had on the program and what you liked seeing in their growth throughout the Spearfish Spartans volleyball program.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be hard. I mean, it's hard every year to fill some seniors. And they brought something different for both of them. Like Avery Kirk, it's just going to be different without her on the court because I pulled her up as a sophomore. So she's been with me 3 years, and then I coached her when she was a freshman. So I've been with her all 4 years. So it's going to be just different not having her around. Again, she just brings that extra positivity, drive, and just, again, like filling her position with another outside all the way around that also played a middle rotation for us is going to be tough. And then Brooklyn Yackley, she did not play libero for us our junior year. Again, she just kind of stepped in, but I think kids can learn. You can, if you put in the time and effort in the off season, you can create your own way of playing, just with the extra touches. And so Yackley really stood out that way when it came to picking up tips and stuff. So she really helped get us over that little hump that we needed to on the defensive end. And I think our JV team was awesome this year too. We have to give them a quick shout out. They were 18-1, and then they split 2 games out at the Gillette tournament because they didn't play a third set. And what's really cool about that JV team is they practiced with us every day. So they helped the varsity push to the level we ended.
It was an honor to follow you guys this whole season, and we look forward to seeing the growth for the Spearfish Lady Spartans coming next year.
Awesome. Thank you for everything and all the support you had for the program as well.
That was head coach Shelbie Richards from the Spearfish Lady Spartans. As the Spearfish Lady Spartans finished with a 23-10 record this 2024 season. They went 11-7 in Class AA games and have a bright future ahead of them coming next season. For KDSJ Local Sports, I'm Clayson Davis reporting in Spearfish.